and then
yeah, today is
yes,
my
ma'am.
session only. Yes.
Only your session and then participants will
Yeah, they will
discuss.
discuss that. Yeah. So,
Priyanka, go ahead. Priyanka, go ahead.
Namaste and greetings. I okay. Namaste and greetings. I, Priyanka Negi, researcher at IMPRI.
hello.
Yeah, ma'am, Priyanka's connection got lost. Don't we start with your session, ma'am?
Okay, no problem. Yes, yes, yeah.
Okay, please go ahead.
So, good morning, friends. And first of all, today is a day 4, and we are now going to have a session on the Law and Public Policy Qualitative Action Research Fieldwork Program. And first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Arjun Kumar, Dr. Simi Mehta, Ms. Priyanka Negi, Ms. Vaishali Singh, Satyam Tripathi, Vidhitaji, and IMPRI team for putting together this valuable course. And we had a very good, seamless previous 3 sessions. In day 1, when we provided the overarching concern in this course for the qualitative research, and the nuances of the qualitative research were explained in the introductory note. And Professor Vijay Raghavan, in his keynote address and the opening remark, he also told us about the practical issues in the participatory action research. In the second day, Dr. Amarjit Sani deliberated upon the ethical dimensions, which focused on social value, scientific good knowledge, risk-benefit ratio, no harm to the respondent, informed consent, privacy and confidentiality clauses in any participatory research, and the independent review that is required, and how participatory action research differs from the positivist approach, which believes in the maintaining the distance, while participatory research demands the ownership of the research and associative way of conducting the research. And then we had Dr. Soumyadeep Chattopadhyay in the day 3, where he explained the processes of the fieldwork based on his personal involvement in conducting some of the government programs on the socioeconomic survey of preparation of the second district human development report in Birbhum in 2018, and so many operational dimensions were taken care of. Now today, my session is about the qualitative research and reporting, and now I would like to share my PPT. Is it visible? Hello? Should I make it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes.
So can I make it in a
Visible.
slideshow mode? Okay. So now in this qualitative research and reporting, first of all, what we need to, as I think previous 3 sessions also have highlighted, that there are grounded theory studies which you can, which provides the theoretical backdrop and the perspective. You can use methods of case studies, historical studies, action research studies, and the phenomenological, where you are capturing the whole processes, and ethnographic studies where the communities are studied, what kind of understanding that you need to have, what kind of care that you need to take, you need to keep into consideration. And in qualitative research, the various methods were also explained, and what are the strengths of all these methods, whether it is in-depth interviews, focus group discussion, some of the projective techniques such as role play, role reversal, okay, showing the photograph, showing the videos on the basis of which the discussion starts, case studies, grounded theories, which theories inform, whether you go by the a human right-based approach, or you go by the feminist understanding, or your grounded theory comes from the reality. Like it is an inductive method where your grounded experiences, they help you in theorization. Action research is that your research results into transformative processes, into the action. And observation is extremely important. Qualitative research, where the researcher's deep involvement is very important, because it is not only gathering the information and data, but also your own ownership, your observation, your critical reflection, and your rapport with the community which you are studying, or the institution which you are studying. That is very important. Now, the critical discourse analysis came in the 70s, where socially conscious people, that that and it all came after the Latin American experiences of the literacy mission. The 2 educationists, Paulo Freire and Ivan Illich, they used the literacy mission for making people socially conscious, that why the mass of them, they could not send their children to school, why there was rampant child labor, why they were not able to get 2 square meals, why they were what were the factors which were forcing them to cultivate narcotic drugs rather than food and fruits and this. So making them socially conscious through the participatory processes, you have a direct relation to the issues of power and control, because you are trying to change the power balance. You are trying to make those who are at the receiving end of the system to take charge of their situation, to determine their own destiny. You need to it is a bridge to cultural studies and post-colonial studies and gender studies, because that empathy and the concern with the actual problems of the people is very important. Some philosophers, the globally renowned philosophers like Foucault or Derrida or Bakhtin or Bordeaux's media studies, that how media shapes our social consciousness, that they are very important when you are doing a participatory study, and it is believes in the discourse analysis, that it is not a one-way knowledge which you are imparting to the community, but you are learning a lot. It's a two-way process, and discourses are very important. And these discourses are also defined by power. That means dominant discourse versus the knowledge of the subjugated. Dominant discourse is everywhere. It is there in the mainstream media. It is there in the education system. It is there in all the rules and regulations and the legislations that are coming. As against that, what is there among the people? What are their needs and demands? What are their dreams and their action agenda? I think bringing that to the fore becomes a very important evidence to shape the policy of the country, or policy of the region, or the local micro level policy. So recognition that meaning is indeterminate and socially constructed. All of us are socially constructed. Even when you are doing the study on labor market or the work participation of women, you know that labor markets are not governed by blind forces of markets. They are governed by, they are socially constructed. Your intersectional location of a caste, class, community, education, being a geographical location, whether you are in rural or urban area, whether you are in post-colonial countries or in the industrialized countries, all these things play very important role in determining what kind of bargaining power, what kind of space, what kind of quality of life you will have in the, by entering into the workforce. So in participatory research, I think the grounded theory, Dr. Soumyadev gave several examples of how the grounded reality shaped his human development report. The discourse analysis, wherever Dr. Amarjit Sani in his presentation on ethics, he said that why it is important to know what the respondents feel, what they want, and what are their anxieties. No, it is so discourse is very important. Ethnography, whichever community you are studying, you have to be culturally sensitive. You have to, then only you will have a rapport for your participatory qualitative research. Otherwise, people will withdraw. They may nod their head, or they may just say yes and no, and they would not they discuss the details. So it and plus wherever you are, because in participatory action research, researcher is actively involved in the research. You are not just hiring contract labor or the people investigators who would conduct research on your behalf. No, your personal involvement is very important. So you observe the location, observe the reality. You have a transect walk where you walk with the key informants and interact with the people, and what kind of mood they are in, what kind of the facial expression, body language, emotions they are exchanging with you. So that is very important. The conversational analysis, that in participatory research, you converse with the people. You don't talk down to them, no? That here we have come to do your research and you have to answer whatever we ask you. No, it is a conversation, two-way program, two-way exchange. And in your writing, in a qualitative study, your words are your data. Okay, so narrative analysis is very important, and you have to explain your text into the in the context, which context in which you are studying, whether there is a peace or a war, whether they are in the rural distress, or whether the market is bullish. So context, political economy of the area or institution or community that you are studying, that context becomes very important while analyzing the text of your report. In participatory research, theory building and theory testing are also very important, because the testing is done by the empirical findings that you have. You need to have a methodological skill on how to get the information, and what you want to know, you have to be clear about it. You have there are certain standard principles which are there across the discipline, whether you are studying, doing research from the disciplinary context of economics or pol science or geography or sociology or any of the liberal arts or humanities. So it is critical reflection is most important. You go with your open mind, you listen to the people, you reflect on it. It's very important. There are a variety of approaches in this kind of writing, as well as collecting, how to organize your material. Okay, so tools and techniques, you use both quantitative and qualitative techniques. You can do the triangulation. Dr. Soumyadev also showed how they did triangulation in their studies. Statistical analysis is important, which was explained in the previous session. What kind of experiments you are making. Experiments can be based on the role play, or using the local idioms such as folk art, or a poem, or a folklore, or in Rajasthan, if you are doing it with the same matter, your concept note, you can communicate through puppets, which is the technique they know. ILO had done a very good qualitative study about the joint forest management, women's stake in the reforestation program, and they had used a game which is called Sokta. I don't know, that game is there in several parts of India. There, even Satyajit Ray made a film also on this thing. So we have that chocolate in which you play. So the whole power relations they are showing between the dominant forces who are not allowing women to have power in the reforestation program, representation, as well as voice, and women who are trying or who are involved in the reforestation program. They are the ones who fetch water, traveling long distance. They are the ones who uh, uh, plant the sapling. They are the ones who protect the sapling by their actual body standing there when there are sand dunes. And that whole film, you can even watch it. It is called Goats and Tigers. So they use that game to first to simulate the participant that the way Sher or Bakri, goats and tigers, have a mutually exclusive interest. Goat has to protect herself, and the tiger is going to eat up the goat if he can catch her. So this power relation was shown in the joint forest. It was a very powerful technique. And after that, women opened up and told us that how the system is treating poor women only as a daily wage earner. And they are the ones who bring water. They are the ones who are protecting sapling. And the moment area becomes green, all the local vested interest, or whether it is a sarpanch or a district commissioner, all of them take over and drive out women. So it was a very important, that experiment helped in coming up with a new law regarding joint forest management program, which the government of India started during the 80s, where women had stakes. They have a way, they have a voice and they have a representation. So that became very important. Similarly, for water, also it has happened. So many like state government of Maharashtra had started Jala Swarajya program. So there also participatory action played a very important role in bringing out that what is the political economy of water. Who gets water, who don't get water, when the pipelines are made, which are the areas in which all the tapped water goes and which are the areas which are left out. And these were the women from there, these communities, they have to, when they try to get the tapped water by entering the other areas, they face sexual violence. And that came up very this thing. And then the question of that there is nothing neutral about water. There is a politics of water utilization, first of all, water distribution and water utilization. So that experiment was very, very helpful in coming up with the scheme of the government called Jala Swarajya, that women have a sovereignty. Women of the village have a sovereignty of their water, whether it is in pond or river or well. So the field surveys are also very important because in the field, what kind of power dynamics are there, case researches are very important. So you can choose according to the kind of problem you encounter, you can choose the methods. Now, participatory research analysis is informed by various philosophical and epistemological inputs. Constructivism, that you don't have a given knowledge, you are constructing the knowledge, which is called a knowledge construct. And constructivist, so you go with the open mind, and it is your grounded research and your qualitative research which is going to help you construct knowledge. Feminist ideology, that you look at the reality from the gender lens. Who is the gainer? Who is the loser? Who shoulder the responsibility? Who is benefiting from this? So that kind of lens also has to be very important. Marxism talks about the class-based discrimination or the advantages, which is privileges that that people in different layers of society have it. Discourse analysis, as I told you, the discourse analysis always juxtaposes the dominant discourse versus the knowledge of the subjugated. Intersectional analysis, the Crenshaw, feminist scholar, of jurisprudence in America, she came up with the intersectional perspective that all of us have our standpoint. Where do we stand in the power relation? It is determined by the intersectionalities of caste, class, race, religion, location, language, education. And we have to be sensitive about the privileges for some and the disadvantages for some on the basis of intersectional vulnerabilities and intersectional privileges. The research protocol is very important in the participatory action research, that you are not going to harm anybody. You are going to protect your respondent. You are doing good. In fact, so many studies recently, you must have read the studies on sex workers or studies on LGBTQIA community, where the researcher did not take any precaution to see to it that they are not victimized. They are not. So even the Harvard study you must have read during the pandemic, how much there was a massive outcry because their research came up with the recommendation that the major locus of spread of corona would be the sex workers, and government should come out with a strict protocol for the sex workers. And that was a really misdirection of this thing. It was a very elitist way of conducting participatory research, and there was a major outcry from the developing world. Another study of the sex workers in Kolkata, which was done by a scholar from Scandinavia, and she had gathered all the information and there was an allegation of abuse of their trust because she did not do it associatively. She got the research published in her name and got the book published, and the people who had played a very important role in this research, because the sex workers were speaking Bengali and Nepali, and so much effort had gone, but none of them were consulted, or even the draft was not shared with the people who were co-creator of this knowledge. So this is very important when you are doing participatory research. Cultural studies, ethnic studies, Dalit studies, disability studies, gender studies, women's studies, epidemiological studies have been conducted with the very ethically. They are conducted, and where the participatory research approach is there, everyone is involved in the research, and even the credit and the bylines are shared. Cross-disciplinary research is, for example, if you are a social scientist and you work with the medical college to come up with the socio-cultural and health implications of coronavirus pandemic, okay, that would be a cross-disciplinary research. Or if you are doing work on a smart city, and in your team, you have engineers, you have architects, you have social scientists, and you have lawyers, because land is a very important legal issue also. Then it becomes a cross, one or more disciplines are involved in that. In interdisciplinary research, you have two or more different areas of knowledge of study, like sociology and economics. Both of them are within the social science. So if you are studying agrarian situation, so to understand the pattern of land holding, pattern wages of the workers, the agrarian prices, okay, economists are there. But at the same time, who are the agricultural workers? Which caste they belong to? Who are the landlords? Which caste they belong to? What is the socio-cultural background of these communities? Oh, that becomes very important. So you have an interdisciplinary team, and see, even to understand the declining work participation of women. Like there was a study done by IRMA, where the comparative analysis of women's work participation in the tribal areas of Gujarat and tribal areas of Odisha was done, and also it was in the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, and the different cultural pattern emerged, and that impacted the involvement of women and the overall outcome of the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan in Gujarat and Odisha. So this becomes very, the cultural aspects are very important in determining the outcome of any mission. Clinical and public health practices, for that also, it is very important that in a public health, why some patients would go only for Ayurveda, others would go only for Unani, or there are these who have total faith only in allopathy, and the Ayush approach that Government of India has adopted. That what are the different patterns? Why you would say that homeopathy is more popular in certain geographical locations of us? Why Ayurveda is more popular in Kerala? You can see that Ayurveda is flourishing in this thing. Why naturopathy is popular only in certain locations of the country, and why urban centers are predominantly ruled by the allopathy. So understanding these people's faith, because your health is such an important issue where trust factor is very important. The person whom you trust, whether doctor or healer or traditional hero, why in tribal areas with serious ailment also people go to the witch doctor. They are called local healers, no? So this, and how can you come up with a strategy using this research to see to it that instead of creating more conflict, why don't you incorporate the traditional healers with the those who are practicing the modern medicine? Why can't they come together? And we have seen such successful examples in the state of Kerala, or we have seen in certain parts where the health, community health programs are going on, that you don't antagonize the local healers, no? Like in the whole success of containment of pandemic in Dharavi, why did it succeed? It was the municipal commissioner had so many focus group discussions and the Zoom call meetings with all practitioners of Dharavi. He did not say that only those who are MBBS and MD doctors practicing in Dharavi. Dharavi is the largest, one of the largest slums of Asia. Yeah, it is the largest in Mumbai also. So there, he had a meeting. He invited all. There were homeopath, there were traditional healer, there were BHMS, and there were MBBS doctors, and there were Ayabais and all practitioners whom women trusted, Anganwadi workers and Asha workers. All of them were involved in communication, and they were convinced by the commissioner that why it is important to change the practices of people. People have to wash hands regularly. Toilets have to be clean 4 times a day, because that is a place from where coronavirus spreads. Containment zone have to observe certain practices of not coming out, those who had coronavirus. If you have anyone is corona positive, they should immediately transfer to the jumbo camps for the corona patients, where you would get medical attention, you would get nice food, because you need to have high protein diet. And they were also, they were to maintain the distance, though it was very difficult in a 10 by 10 tenement where 10 to 12 people are staying. How do you maintain distance of 1.5 meters? But I think the awareness generation and taking everybody, all the stakeholders into confidence played a very important role in containing corona. So you see that on the second wave of corona did not come from the slums of Mumbai. Slum means informal settlements. They did not come, they were not the locus of spread of corona. The second, third, and fourth wave of coronavirus in big cities or in Mumbai, like it was the lift of the building, which was this thing, and the support staff, drivers, liftmen, watchmen, domestic workers who were housed, because there were many who kept them, who asked their domestic workers to stay on. They wanted them to work. And they were in a crowded one room of the building. And they were using only one toilet, and from there it spread. And also the lift was another locus of spread of corona. So that came out from the rapid assessment studies. Now, coming to the community-based interventions, it's very important, and I would strongly recommend you to read Indian Social Institutions, Indian Social Institute Bangalore's two reports which are based on a participatory action research on how the community intervention constructs the knowledge for the development, qualitative, better quality of life for the community, their stakes, identification of problems, and also allocation of resources, whichever the budgetary allocations or anti-poverty programs they have. It is freely downloadable. I think I've also shared their link. Another question is the transdisciplinary researches that you have, where you have social sciences, medical sciences, then pure sciences. All of them, they come together, especially in the climate change discourse. If you see that climate change is so many super specialized knowledge systems have converged to come out with the outcome. Okay, well, so because climate change causes massive dislocation, whether it is a floods or earthquake or sand dunes or cyclone, and so you have a meteorological people, you have because the damages of housing takes place. So what kind of strong housing that you need to create? So you have architects and engineers, the pipelines and everything are damaged during tsunami, things like tsunami. So you have an transdisciplinary team which examines the issue from their angle. Multidisciplinary research is informed by different disciplinary perspectives and methods. So doctors would say we will go by the epidemiological method, or the gender analysts who are in the team, they would say that we would see this problem from the gender lens. And you have a pure scientist or who would see the problem from the science, what kind of scientific veracity or scientific viability the project has. And you would also have medical science people who would see it from the intervention of the actual clinical intervention or the vaccine research that is involved. So public health concerns are also generally now, if you see, they are multidisciplinary. And I think Dr. Jesani gave several examples from his field-based participatory researches. Now, qualitative researchers, they view themselves as the primary instrument for collecting data. They rely partly or entirely on their feelings, impressions, and judgments in collecting data. Qualitative research involves words. So how effectively you use your words, your narrative skills become very important. You have a smaller volume of participants and records. So in ethnographic research or a life history interviews or discourse analysis, you have your researcher is intensely involved with the respondent. So you may not have your sample in thousands, no, like in quantitative research, NFHs, you have 25,000 households per state, or in NSSO program, again, you have 25,000 households. That kind of data, that kind of huge sample you may not have. But the strength of qualitative research is the depth of understanding, reaching out where other methods can't reach, to give meaning to number, that you know the data, decline, there is a declining work participation. You know the PCPN, the sex selective abortions in certain locations have really increased drastically, okay? Or you know that de-feminization of agriculture is taking place. But what are the processes? What are the factors? Why is it taking place? Why there is such a high level of urban migration to urban centers, even by the young people like 14, 16, 18-year-old who are moderately educated? So to give meaning to these numbers, its qualitative research becomes very important, but we know that its representability is limited. Now, capturing the people's feelings, perceptions, emotions based on their experiences and life situation is the USP of participatory action research. You have to you use the detailed narrative. Your research design evolves in course of research process. You don't go with the set ideas. You always are open, and as you encounter the reality, you tweak your questionnaire. And it's an open-ended questionnaire. Data is in the form of objects, pictures, words, songs. Okay, in a previous course, the participant who did research on the socioeconomic condition of the ASHA workers, she expressed her research through a long verses, no, which very beautifully written verses, which captures all the anguish, problem, and the dreams of ASHA workers. Researchers' ideologies and interpretations are extremely important. Subjective involvement of the researcher is very, very deep, like same work, like you see, if you are doing work on women and work, and you are doing participatory research and impact of working women on child's psychology or the child's behavior. Okay, if you are convinced that working mothers have children with problem, you would frame your question that way. I was an examiner for an MPhil thesis, where the researcher herself believed that women with children should not work. Okay? And she framed her question. The first question was that, are you happy that your mother is working? Do you get hot meal because your mother is working? Do you get attention of your mother for your homework? Does she regularly attend your open house or the PTA meeting? Now, the whole questionnaire is such that it puts blame on the mother for not being able to give what the researcher thought that is to be. Like another person who has done research on the same subject of working mothers and the children, she would first ask the question that, do you think that your mother is working, that's why you are more relaxed economically? Do you help your mother in the kitchen? Because she also has to work for 8 hours and she has to travel. When she comes home tired, do you offer her a glass of water? Do you discuss your problems with your mother during the weekend? Okay, the same topic, but the approach is different. Okay, so I think your ideology of the researcher plays a very important role in how would you interpret the same problem. There'll be several interpretations. In fact, there are so many studies which have shown that working mothers' children are smarter because they learn to take decision about day-to-day reality on their own. So they are far more confident. Their ability to negotiate outside world is much, much higher. So those studies are also there. Okay, the basic protection of children and the developmental needs of children, they have to be looked after. We all agree. But it is not that because woman is working, her children have become delinquent. No? So that kind of approach is victimizing the victim, because in today's context, women have to work. In fact, there's so much naming and shaming going on about India for such a low work participation rate. Both World Bank and the World Economic Forum, all of them are saying that how can India, there's only one country behind us, that is Afghanistan. All other countries have gone ahead of us when it comes to work participation. Subjective involvement of researcher, that way it's very important. What ideology, values, beliefs, emotions, behavior, formal and informal relationships and their roles, contradictions which you are facing in the society day-to-day life, which place you are in, what stories you have heard, which determines your mental makeup, what kind of folklores are there, what kind of songs, diaries, letters, drawings, photographs, archives, media output, blogs, social media, all of them help, or they play a very important role in construction of knowledge in qualitative research. Now, as I told you in the very first slide only, that in the case study, you can do the case study of an event. Okay, so you can do case study of, say, Kumbh Mela. Okay, or you can do case study of an individual, so personality, Savitribai Phule, or you can do a case study of Sarojini Naidu. Okay, or you can do case study of social group, Dabbawala study. No, it is a social group, that one particular community from rural Maharashtra, they are the ones who are the suppliers of lunchbox. That is also that film made called Lunchbox, got so many awards. That is also based on the Dabbawala study. You can do study of the institutions, okay, some women's university, or some scientific institutions, or the media institution that you do. Then the theory that you have in participatory action research and qualitative research, you have an inductive approach. That means your data derived from participation, by your involvement in the research, helps you to theorize. Okay. You have a phenomenological researches, that is the narrative experiences as they present themselves. That the whole study of walking with the migrants, no, beyond corona pandemic, beyond coronavirus pandemic, that whole research is a phenomenological study. The researchers were walking with the migrants when they were going to their native place. And they were also not only extracting information, but they were walking with them, carrying their babies, helping them, giving them water and food packets, and also whenever they sat tired and sat, they were talking about their life. So this is a phenomenological study, ethnographical study, where the sociology of meaning through close field observation. You go to a community, you closely, like Esther Bosraf's work, though she was an economist, but it's an ethnographic study because she stayed with the community, closely observed how the African villages were organizing their economic activity and the role that was played by women and children. That is what explained polygamy in Africa. Okay, so you can read her book, Women's Role in Economic Development, which is such a close observation, living with the people. She doesn't treat herself as an outsider and comes up with this whole theory which theorizes in an approach called Women in Development approach, which resulted in United Nations starting ECOSOC, Economic and Social Status of Women, desk, and also Declaration of International Women's Year in 1975, and Declaration of International Women's Decade from 1975 to 85. Esther Bosraf's work had a massive snowballing effect. Historical studies such as collection and evaluation of data related to the past events, causes and consequences, in fact, the study of jute industry, women in jute industry by Shamita Sen, or study of women in textile industry, how the rationalization, mechanization played role in exit of women. Renana Jhabwala's work, Closing Doors, all of them are historical studies which also give us insight that how technology displaces women. Why aren't we giving training to women when the new technologies arrive? No, so this discrimination in skilling, that is also captured. Now, qualitative researchers view themselves as a primary instrument for collecting data. There are certain gray areas which remain outside the confines of predictive quantitative research. For example, violence against women, why sex selection is taking place, or the mental health issues, which is now have gained current major attention in the post-pandemic period, or the condition, why midwives are so popular. Now also, when you have such a modern science, the question of surrogacy, that is also, there are these are certain under-researched areas. So observations, narratives, prolonged engagement, rich and thick description, clarity, clarify the biases which are existing among the community, among the various stakeholders, and you need to come up with a coherent and consistent, logically consistent analysis. So qualitative research which involves words, so that is a very important, you need to remember, and a depth of understanding, reaching out where other methods don't reach out. So that is a very important contribution. Now, this ethnographic, I have already explained to you the various methods and inductive methods, and the ethnographic studies, how they capture people's feeling. The researchers' ideologies and interpretations also play a very important role. In case studies, you are focusing on individual or event or social group or institutions. In strength of qualitative research also, I have explained to you that it is a reflexive amount, and the stages in which qualitative research is done and the methods in which qualitative research is done is also explained. Intersectional perspective is very important, as the figure shows that we have multiple identities. I am a working woman, I am teacher, I am mother, I am a homemaker, I am a career woman. Okay, so these 5 identities I have. I may have my caste and my religion will add. So these multiple identities, they determine your social location, your bargaining power, your performance. So all these factors need to be taken into consideration while doing any qualitative research. And that's why this intersectionality whether it is of age or race or ability or ethnicity, religion, they become very important in your analysis. In phenomenology, as I said, that the whole phenomena is being examined. In fact, if you can see the writing caste, writing gender by Sharmila Rege, narrative of Dalit testimony, she went through more than 27 autobiographies of Dalit women. The autobiographies were in Marathi. These were the women whose lives changed after they attended, they actively participated in Mahad Satyagraha under leadership of Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Now, all these women, now none of them are alive now, but this analysis which Sharmila Rege has provided about the caste, class, and gender is now also considered to be legendary. It's a part of a core topic in the women's studies courses. So inductive method, as I told you, that how you do your data collection, you do the coding of the material that you have, what patterns are emerging, you come up with the theoretical sampling, and you establish a theory for your research. I told you about the Esther Bosrup's work. Another anthropologist, Elenier Burke-Lecoq, she also believed in the dialogical approach. She did a pioneering work in anthropology, ethnography, and sociology, so far as the qualitative research is concerned. Case studies method, excellent examples are by Leela Gulati, the way back in the 60s. In Economic Weekly, she had written one day in the life of a rice field worker. So the field worker, one agriculture worker, I think Lakshmi her name was, and that became a very important method. Through one case study, she has shown the whole structure of the rice farming and women's stake in the rice farming. Another work by Sharda Muni and John Mencher, Muddy Fit, Dirty Hands. That is also very good participatory research. In fact, Sharda Muni was a statistician by training, and she did this. Urvashi Butalia's work on Other Side of Silence. In fact, similar work done in Pakistan by Nigat Sayyed Khan, or similar work done by Nijera Kuri, that women's organization in Bangladesh, how during partition women suffered. And they interviewed these women who were in their late 70s, 80s, 90s about their trauma, which they had never shared with anybody. So that is the impact of migration on women, that also personal narrative of 12 women achievers, that is there in the Leela Gulati and Jashodhara Bagchi's work. Another work of Leela Gulati about how women in Kerala managed when men migrated to the Gulf countries, and when they came back after crisis in the Gulf country, how they were finding it difficult because the man wanted, they considered themselves to be head of the household, while in 20 or 12, 15 years of time, these women had learned to take independent decisions, and how it resulted in domestic violence. So participatory action research is most important, that it is a shared knowledge. It is a co-creation of knowledge, and the various stages of the gender analysis is also very important component in the aspect. And in fact, the most of the qualitative researches in women's studies are done with this gender responsive approach. So, and in that, what all has been used over the last 40 years is a consciousness raising method. You try to understand what are the reasons for how you are behaving now. Group diaries. There was a very good experiment made in Maharashtra, where the government of Maharashtra sent circular to all Gram Panchayat saying that try to get essays in Marathi about why, because I am a woman, my bai ahe manu, that. And all the essays which were received from women from all over the state, from different socioeconomic background, they were analyzed by Professor Vibhuti Bhagwat. It came out as a thick volume in Marathi, and that helped in coming up with the women's policy for Maharashtra state in 1994. So it's very important. Dramatic role play, genealogy. Dabawala study is based on the genealogy, because for past 4 generations, they are organizing, taking Daba from resident to the workplace for Mumbaikars. Network tracing, so many studies on Naka workers or the domestic workers are done on the network tracing, because you won't allow any unknown person in your house. Okay, somebody has to recommend you. So networks are very important. Social capital is very important. No, non-authoritative community-based research, you don't go as a big boss, you go as a observer, you go as a friend, you go as an equal. So conversation and dialogue, as I told you about it. And you can also use the tape recorder, you can also use the videography, provided the participants and the respondents are okay with that. The permission is very important. Concepts or generalizable properties and characteristics that come out from the narrative that you have. You can have, there are unidimensional study, that means only you focus on the income level and whether they are educational level. You can have a multidimensional study where you are thinking about learning. Because see, learning cannot happen in one dimension. Learning depends on what quality of education teacher is giving, what kind of background you have at your home, or what kind of friends you have. So many factors inform an outcome of learning, or even the personality. Your personality is not just you can be rich, but you may be different. You may be poor, but you may be confident because the kind of upbringing you have had, or the intelligence. All these things, they are multidimensional. So you need to have your own operational definition for your research. That for this particular research, this is how I have used the definitions, whether they are unidimensional research construct or the multidimensional courses. Now, it is important to understand the difference between ontology and epistemology. Ontology is that what I want to know. And epistemology, what kind of research processes I will use that will give me that knowledge. Okay, so the book Walking with the Migrants Beyond COVID-19 Pandemic by Indian Social Institute, that has first decided that what would be how are they going to get to know the real deep-rooted problems of migration in India. So these are the strengths and weaknesses of quantitative method and qualitative method. And you need to, most of the time, like to increase the credibility and viability of your research, you do triangulation. So you do the triangulation of different methods. You can do triangulation of different disciplinary inputs. Like you can do historical research, qualitative and quantitative data. You can go through the census. If you are doing work participation, say from 1891 till 2023, what has been the pattern? Okay, so that is everything. You can also do the interviews and observations of women from different sections about their response to entering into the workforce. And you can also have a key informant qualitative interviews from Labor Ministry, or from the district authorities, or from the elected representatives, or from the educational institutions. Research findings, you can do data triangulation, also research findings triangulation, where you have a data triangulation, quantitative and qualitative data. You can have an investigator triangulation, who all are the stakeholders. You can have a methodological triangulation, which kind of methods you are using, whether it's a phenomenology or case study or focus group discussion. And you can also have a theoretical triangulation that, okay, so far as the food aspect is concerned, I'm going to use right-based approach. So far as the gender issues are concerned, I'm going to use the feminist approach, or so far as the socioeconomic background is concerned, I'm going to use intersectional approach. So triangulations can happen at a very different levels. And this is the two extremes. You have quantitative and qualitative, and you have so many methods of doing your qualitative research. So main thing is that strength of the qualitative research is it is the effort to find meaning of certain situations, relationships, and conditions. And your concepts and theories are grounded, and it is a reflexive account. A small sample size, non-representative, the biases are there. You say that, yes, this is my location, this is my theoretical understanding, and this is the framework which I'm going to use for the research. It's a very time-consuming relationship between researcher and respondent is very, very thick. There is subjectivity, there is reliability, there is trust. You can't generalize, because whatever is applicable to your small sample cannot be generalized at the national or the macro level. it is difficult to replicate because it is so laborious, so demands massive involvement, and lack of transparency can cause a lot of damage. It is too subjective, and trustworthiness enhances the credibility, transferability, and dependability and comfortability. As I told you about these two examples I gave you, the research by the Harvard University scholars on pandemic about sex workers, and another study which was done by the Scandinavian researcher, though of Indian origin, about the sex workers of Calcutta. If you don't have trustworthiness, if the people whom you have researched, they don't trust your research, then you lose your credibility. Mixed methods are very important. Now, all of us generally use mixed method. Shram Shakti report you can download from the website, which has used mixed method. There are in-depth case studies, and there are also metadata from the government sources like NSSO or Labor Ministry or status or the men and women in India, the most recent Ministry of Statistics metadata are also there. UNDP reports, if you read the human development reports which have been coming out from the last 22 years, they also use the mixed methods. So how to structure your research, whether it's a research paper or research report or dissertation. First, you have to have introduction, literature review, which theory is informing your research, what are your research questions, what kind of processes and the methodologies you are going to use, empirical presentation, which how you are going to make it. You have to have a subtitles, what do you infer, tie up all the issues and the results and theoretical discussion you have to have, and conclusion, summary, and recommendation you can give. So these are the important references which I have suggested. All of them are available, freely downloadable, whether it is Anul Bhattacharya's work on these things, Sehat's guidelines on ethical guidelines for social science research, or the Donna and Sherlin's work on triangulation, importance of triangulation and mixed methods. Kothari and Garg's work on research methodology and various techniques, they are also downloadable. And S.K. Shah and Corley's work on building better theory by bridging the quantitative and qualitative divide. Thank you very much. Now we can have discussion.
Thank you, ma'am, for providing such a comprehensive and enlightening session and opening up the discussion to a very important dimension to be included and considered while doing the qualitative research. We now open the floor for questions from participants. You can either raise hands or type in Q&A box. Yes, Kirti ji.
Very good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Ma'am, first of all, my compliments for the this presentation that you have given. It's a very well elaborate way that you have explained qualitative. I have two queries, ma'am. One with regards to the paper that I'm planning.
Yeah.
I have used qualitative exploratory qualitative design.
Okay.
So will it be the right choice?
Yes.
I have already done two of my papers on grounded theory.
Okay.
But due to the paucity of the time,
Yeah.
44 months is a very short duration to conduct doing coding and then applying GT.
Yeah.
So for this particular project, will this exploratory qualitative design suffice?
Yeah.
My
But
first
what is
question.
the topic?
My
Topic
second
would
question I find.
No. What is your topic? That would decide.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. The topic is evaluating the impact and efficacy of systems of pension administration, Raksha,
yes.
in disbursement of pension to defense.
Correct. Yes. Yeah.
So I have taken it as an.
So you would be interviewing
Ma'am, my
pension
second.
authorities and also the pensioners, and also going through the laws and all. Or how
Yes, ma'am.
to go about? So you will also interview the authorities, no? Stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders?
Yes, ma'am. What I have. Ma'am, what I've taken purposive sampling. I'm only choosing those participants who have first-hand experience of SPERSH, the short form for that particular software.
Yeah.
It is going to be semi-structured, where I'm going to use veterans, pension administrators, and policy makers, and I'm also getting in touch with the technical team here.
Okay.
So these will be my major stakeholders, where I will be giving them semi-structured interviews and gather data, ma'am.
Okay. Understood.
So
this
am
is
I in the
fine.
right direction, ma'am?
Yes, you are very much in right. But have you decided the
Okay,
sample
ma'am.
size? Have you decided the sample size?
Ma'am, because it is a qualitative,
Huh.
I'm going for in-depth interview based on theoretical saturation. That will decide my sample.
Acha, theoretical saturation you will have. If all the answers are repeated, then you will stop, no? Yeah, fine.
Yes, ma'am. I
Yes.
will do constant comparison. And then when theoretical saturation is achieved, I'll stop there. I plan to extract themes, patterns, because I was wondering whether I should do coding or not. Because coding, then it will take me to GT, and GT is not what the time frame is very less for me to implement GT in it.
Okay. So you will just, all the case studies you would just include as they are in the in-depth interviews, no? Like that. And from there you would come up with
Yes, ma'am. In-depth interviews, I will
inferences and
have themes.
discussion and inferences, yeah. But you would also
Yes,
see
ma'am.
the variety
Because
of
of this
pensions,
time
no?
span. Otherwise, ma'am, I will, as of now, the veterans, Indian Defense veterans are my
But they will be
more because I want
widower.
to.
Yeah, they will be
Yes, ma'am.
widower or the widow of
Yes, ma'am.
the veteran, or there'll be couples,
Yes,
or they may have some disability also due to age or due to their
yes, ma'am.
accident and all. So those varieties you will be able to bring in, no?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my
Yes.
observation is that there are senior citizens who are finding this new software very difficult to,
Right.
understand how to go about it. So I've done a background study on it. So based on that, then as on when how sample I will be getting, I will stakeholders will be properly defined. That's what I'm planning to do.
But do they
Ma'am,
have any facilitation by the government?
yes, ma'am, they do have. There are a lot of groups which are working on it. There are a lot of not only groups on website, but there are WhatsApp groups as well to help the veterans. So I'm trying to study them more, that how this process is happening and the challenges which they are facing.
But
Ma'am,
veterans with disability, have you included them, wheelchair bound veterans or?
ma'am, that I have not included yet. I'm allowing the data to bring me them.
Because every year they have, no, in the International Disability Day, so they all come out and have demonstration.
Yes, ma'am, they do.
Yeah,
I will include that point as well, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, my second question is, while I'm defending qualitative research in a normal DRC or for my scholars, it's a tough job because most of them ask me to focus on quantitative.
Positivism is like reign supreme, what to do? That is the reality. And first of all, the mainstream knowledge construction happens with the positivist approach. It has a long history of 200 years. And qualitative research came into focus only in last 50 years. So that is also there with that. But I think we support the triangulation, no? So
yes,
yeah.
I'll try to do that also.
Numbers do have strength, numbers do speak, yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, now the operational part is that I've already submitted this idea on the Google form. Now, how to go about? Madam, should I start it?
You've completed your review of literature? Have you completed? Have you done the gap analysis?
I analyzed the gaps. I've already submitted in the Google form.
Huh. So now you just start interviewing, no?
Or
Right.
Kriti ji, you can also do pilot. Start with doing some pilot.
Yeah.
वो क्वेश्चन रिवाइज हो जाएगा, हाँ, थोड़ा टाइम और लेकर.
Right. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kriti ji.
Huh.
Also, participants can discuss their methodology or any concerns regarding their research work one by one.
Yeah.
Does Gaurav ji, would you like to go first?
Yeah, actually, I need to discuss something, some previous things before going to the,
You're not audible.
this
Yeah,
discussion.
yeah.
And
Gaurav, you're not audible. Could you please be a little more clear? Maybe the mic
hello,
must be a little bit.
now
Yes,
is
Yes,
it
yes,
now,
you're
is
clear
it
now.
yeah, now it's fine.
okay? Okay, thank you, ma'am. I was saying that before going for this discussion, I have to discuss something else because in the previous session we have discussed about the questionnaires and other things, and the sample size and the quality. And
Gaurav, we lost you. Could you keep the mic a little
Can't
stable?
hear
We
you.
lost you in between. Yeah.
okay, is it fine now?
Yeah, now it's okay.
All right. So, ma'am, I was saying that, before going for this discussion we have discussed today, and that was really very good session. And so, before going for this discussion, I was thinking that I have to discuss something else because in the last session we have discussed about the questionnaires and the sample size and also some more methodologies. So, to finalize those things before going for the pilot, so I would like to discuss with you those things like I will be preparing my questionnaires and sending to you. And after getting finalized the questionnaires, then I'll like to proceed further.
Yeah, but you have also filled up the Google form, no? Your proposal
Yes,
and
yes, I did.
okay.
Yes, I did, and there are some pointers which on which I have to discuss with you or the person I'll be getting connected with.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, this will.
गौरव जी अब क्वेश्चन को ना पायलट भी कर लीजिए, तो फोन पे कर लीजिए या कहीं भी। अब पायलट वाले मोड में आ जाइए ना, क्वेश्चन बना रहे हैं
जी
मोड फीडबैक, थोड़ा सा कुछ लोगों से बात कर लीजिए, कुछ कुछ थोड़ा सा
ओके
नॉन सीरियस नोट एंड देन सीरियस नोट, तो आपको भी ग्रेविटी पता चलेगा कि आप कैसा टूल प्रिपेयर कर रहे हैं ना क्वेश्चन का। मतलब आई एम सेइंग
अच्छा
दैट
सो यस सर सो फॉर द पायलट थिंग लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल कि मुझे जितने यहाँ मेरे जितने एरिया के पास पब्लिक स्कूल हैं गवर्नमेंट स्कूल हैं उनमें पढ़ रहे बच्चों के पेरेंट्स के साथ में मुझे ये रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट करना है। तो फॉर द पायलट थिंग कैन आई गो फॉर द नेबर्स लाइक जो मेरे नेबर्स में हैं जिनके उसी एज ग्रुप के बच्चे हैं उनके साथ में कुछ इन क्वेश्चंस को डिस्कस करके जब डेटा लेने की कोशिश कर सकता हूँ।
जी.
ऑफ कोर्स ऑफ कोर्स ऑफ
will
कोर्स
that will that be will that be my pilot thing, right?
Yes,
यस
yes.
पायलट या इसे प्री टेस्टिंग कह ले क्वेश्चन का ना, आप प्री टेस्टिंग कर रहे हैं तो उसमें
Yes, yes, yes.
एग्जैक्ट सैंपल की जरूरत नहीं है। मतलब एक दो बार
Okay.
आपने टेस्ट करके इम्प्रूव कर लिया ना, फिर आप
जी
पायलट करेंगे मतलब सीरियस स्टेक होल्डर से, लेकिन
Okay.
टेस्ट करना स्टार्ट कर लीजिए।
Hmm.
All right, all right. Sure, sir, sure. Thank you so
और
much.
और उसमें ना एक चीज का थोड़ा ध्यान रखिएगा कि समय कितना जा रहा है स्टार्ट से एंड तक। हाँ,
Yes, sir. मतलब एक इंटरव्यू कंडक्ट करने में और उन
यस,
क्वेश्चनर को पूरा होने में कितना समय लग रहा है?
कितना समय लग रहा है और आप बात निकाल पा रहे हैं कि नहीं।
All right. Sure, sure. Got it.
थोड़ा
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Gaurav ji. Amna ji, would you like to go next?
I don't have any doubts as such. Right now, I'm just working on, since I'll be taking interviews for my research project, I'm just singling out people who I can interview. So I have a list of, so I'm doing 3 per category: lawyers, academicians, and journalists. I have, as ma'am suggested, I'll divide medium and language. Regional and English. So right now, before reaching journalists, because they are the core part of my research, I'll first reach out to professors and lawyers to get a background of the situation, and I have a list of 3 for each. So I'll start on the 20th. And before that, I'll send a list of questions that I'll be asking them.
आमना जी गुड, बट कैटेगरीज आप स्टेक होल्डर और बढ़ाइए ना, एटलीस्ट 5 पॉलिटिशियन ले लीजिए। हाँ, और कुछ और राइटर्स या कुछ और ले लीजिए उसमें, या जनरल पब्लिक भी ले लीजिए, स्टेक होल्डर्स थोड़ा और बढ़ा लीजिए,
Okay.
टॉपिक बढ़ाए। एंड व्हाई डोंट यू स्टार्ट विथ इंटरव्यूइंग एनीवन, लाइक टेक हेल्प फ्रॉम योर फ्रेंड, योर फैमिली, रिलेटिव्स, किसी से एक बार आप उस क्वेश्चन को डिस्कस तो कर लो, सब प्री टेस्ट कर लीजिए।
Okay.
राइट, एंड फॉर द नंबर्स यू आर गेटिंग 3, आप उसको ना 3 की जगह 15 लिस्ट कीजिए, सब लोग जवाब नहीं देंगे।
Oh, okay. So, but I'm going to take personal interviews, not like online. nahi.
दैट्स
So,
ओके, दैट्स ओके। पर्सनल आपने इंटरव्यू 3 का लिस्ट बनाया, आपने 1 लिया, 2 आपको टाइम ही नहीं दे रहे। सो इट्स बेटर टू हैव ऑप्शंस विथ यू नो,
okay, sir.
make
Understood.
3 times 5 times larger list so that
Yeah.
then you have options to choose, right?
Okay, sir.
लिस्ट मिल जाएगा, आप गूगल करो ना, लिस्ट मिल जाएगा। यू आर बेस्ड इन दिल्ली नो?
Yes, sir.
ठीक है। हम पर आप क्वेश्चनर बनाइए ना, और
Yes.
पहले रीच आउट अगर करना है तो जर्नलिस्ट वाले पे थोड़ा हाथ आजमाइए, बिकॉज उनको मिलना टफ होता है। तो बाकी आपका स्ट्रैटेजी ठीक है, बट इन टर्म्स ऑफ प्रैक्टिस सो दैट यू आर टेकिंग 15-20 इंटरव्यूज, तो उसके लिए कुछ तो ऐसा रीच आउट करने वाला स्ट्रैटेजी पे भी यू कैन बिल्ड अपॉन धीरे धीरे।
Yes, sir. First, I'm targeting, I think it will be easier for college professors since I'm a student in college.
That's
So,
okay. I'm not, that's okay. But I'm saying that let us say you are interviewing 10 journalists. So to reach out to 10 journalists, you have to reach out to 30 journalists,
okay, sir.
depending on the response rate. But एक बार get in touch and see how tough it is to get in touch with them. They will not talk to you.
Okay, sir.
So I'm saying get used to these things, no?
Yeah.
फिर आप टूल प्रिपेयर कर लोगे, बाद में फिर बोलोगे मुझे अभी ये कठिनाई हो रही। सो आई एम सेइंग दैट ट्राई टू रीच आउट टू फ्यू जर्नलिस्ट and
Okay, sir.
ask for their time that okay, in February I'll take your interview. But I'm working on this. I'm Amna. I'm fellow at IMPRI and this. Then see how it is happening.
Okay, sir.
Okay. And as Professor Patel suggested, there are different mediums, uh, of media journalists. So there is electronic, TV, print, वो variety आप हाँ उस पे ज़्यादा focus कर लीजिए।
Yes,
वहाँ
sir.
से good stories will come.
Okay, sir.
गवर्नमेंट में भी ब्रॉडकास्टिंग के जितने चीजें हैं ना, यू कैन ट्राई दोज एज वेल।
Okay, sir.
ठीक है। work more extensively on this tablet, because once this is the real knowledge which you'll get, huh? That is why we are suggesting you this.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, Amna ji. Arpan ji, would you like to go next?
I get PPT for preparing question, which we will discuss. Yeah, I can. Gaurav.
Gaurav, you can get the PPT. Okay, Jaya ji, please go ahead.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Ma'am, actually, I had a doubt. So my topic is women's participation in Indian politics, and I'm like currently working on my question and kind of thing. And I'll start the interview like after 20 because my semesters are going on. So I'll like start with from 20 January. Ma'am, I had a doubt regarding the allotment of mentorship, so I could discuss the problems. And secondly, ma'am, about the literature review.
Yes, जया जी, आप वो अपने कंसर्न्स बताइए ना प्रोफेसर पटेल को। मैम कैन हेल्प यू बेस्ट इन दिस टॉपिक।
बट लिटरेचर रिव्यू तो बहुत है, पार्टिसिपेशन ऑफ वुमेन इन पॉलिटिक्स पे रिसर्च रिपोर्ट्स, किताबें, और इवन PhD thesis which is there on InflipNet and Shodha Ganga. So even online resources are quite high. So aren't you able to get? Do you
Yes,
have
ma'am. Yes,
access
ma'am.
to
I'm just
library?
consulting you about it. Okay, ma'am. I'll do that. Yes,
Ah.
ma'am. I have downloaded a few as well, like the downloadable, free-downloadable
Even
ones.
EPW articles, there are special numbers on political participation. Since 94, we are getting a lot of special numbers also on political participation of women. Because
Okay.
after the constitutional amendment in 1994, about
Yes, ma'am.
73rd and 74th, so lot is there on Panchayati Raj institution, lot is there on women's argument about women's reservation bill. Pol science departments have done many studies on women as voters, women as candidates, women profile of women in the political parties, mainstream political parties, and the regional variations. So this kind of studies, if you put these keywords, no, you will get them. And otherwise, if you send your email ID, whatever I have, I can share with you by email. So that is also possible. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so
मैम
much.
वी हैव, जया जी वी हैव शेयर्ड विभूति मैम्स ईमेल आईडी, पर आप खुद से भी सर्च करेंगे ना, एंड try to also gather new forms of literature. For example, Professor Patel has shared numerous number of such discussion. Those are on our YouTube channel.
Yes.
You can see those. Those are
Even
very
the books have come out now on gender
books.
equality. So IMPRI books have come out. They all are freely downloadable. They are not priced. So last 3 years deliberations in which women's political participation has been a very important theme. So even you can get them. Yeah.
We did once also on women reservation bill recently. You just go and type women reservation or women politics on our website and press search. You'll get a lot of material also from there.
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
sir.
Mhm.
Okay, and sir, regarding the mentorship.
Your mentor is Prasad Patel, but Jay, I'll
Okay,
tell you some other strategy now. Uh,
okay,
Now you can make a list wherein you can see who are the experts who has worked in this area, as in research, or those who are vocal in this area. Right,
okay,
I can tell you a few names. For example, Dr. Ranjana Kumari ji is very known in this area, right?
And even their website, CETA, Center for Social Research, has so many documents on the subject. Then we also have this thing, Chatterjee, Jyotsna Chatterjee. She played a very important role in this thing. NFIW, National Federation of Indian Women, CWDS, Center for Women's Development Studies. All of them who have played very important role in shaping the whole women's reservation bill. They have commissioned a lot of researches on political participation of women. So they are in their websites also, you will get them. Yeah, get the reports which you can download.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
There are many resources. Few more names also you can make list because we can get you connected to them also. There is look more also from research and activist angle. Center for Social Development, CSD, must be having some. Most of the research institute has special focus area on women. All the places you'll get a lot of things. You can see what political parties are doing regarding this. उनके
But
website पे
Indian Social Studies Trust, no, they have done a lot of work on the Panchayati, women in Panchayati Raj institutions. And
अर्चना मैम भी हैं। जय आप ना ऐसा लिस्ट बनाओ
हाँ।
और फिर
Rachna,
अच्छे लोगों का इंटरव्यूज ले सकते हैं
Okay.
मैम।
yeah,
अच्छे
yeah,
स्टेक होल्डर्स हम दे देंगे जया को तो उससे भी बात बन जाएगी।
बरोबर.
जया नाउ स्टार्ट डूइंग प्री टेस्टिंग ऑफ योर क्वेश्चनर।
Yeah,
आपस में ही कर लो, मतलब किसी फ्रेंड के साथ किसी के साथ भी। नाउ स्टार्ट डिस्कसिंग। लिटरेचर रिव्यू में डीप तो जाओगे लेकिन अब पूछना क्या है। हाँ, 15-20 मिनट से ज्यादा टाइम नहीं देगा कोई भी।
yeah.
टेल मी अबाउट योर स्टेक होल्डर्स ना।
So my stakeholders, last day I had discussed with ma'am also. Like I would include like the women voters definitely, and the women party electors, some in portfolios in like Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, and maybe some election commissions like as women officers, and also the normal people, including I was thinking to include men also. That what was their perspective about women's participation in Indian politics, that should also be included to make it more inclusive in nature. So yeah, so that's my stakeholders.
But then academicians, researchers, journalists, these are very important categories, no?
Okay, sir.
Because yeah, we are doing research and we are doing अध्ययन ना, तो ऐसे experts के पास भी जाओ।
They
Those
shape, no, because through their writings, they shape people's opinion.
Okay.
and they have been working in this area for I don't know decades, right?
Yeah.
ठीक है।
Thank you, ma'am.
प्री टेस्टिंग एंड दिस स्टेक होल्डर्स। हाँ, स्टेक होल्डर्स को और बड़ा कीजिए।
Okay. Okay, sir.
नेम्स मिल जाएंगे, आप गूगल करोगे ना, स्मार्टली
Yeah.
गूगल करोगे सब मिल जाएगा।
Okay, sir.
ठीक है।
Thank you, Jayaji. Kriti ji, you have raised your hand.
Yes, ma'am, two questions. One, do we have any remote access of library if IMPRI is having? And second is that about the mentor. Am I getting a mentor or I have to myself find a mentor who is related to this field of interest?
Why don't that will also be a good thing, क्योंकि आप हमारे वेबसाइट पे देख लो ना पीपल में कौन आपको सूट कर रहा है। और बट बेस्ड ऑन योर टॉपिक प्रोफेसर पटेल विल हैंडल। अगर एज इन एक्सपर्ट्स की जब जरूरत पड़ेगी ना, देन वी कैन सी। बट इट्स इन रिसर्च इट्स गुड टू टेक लीडरशिप एंड रीच आउट टू स्पेसिफिक पर्सन विद स्पेसिफिक टाइम कि हाँ मुझे 5 मिनट इनसे बात करनी है।
Sure,
राइट
sure, sure.
फॉर आवर
email तो
रिसर्च।
मैं सभी जवाब देती हूँ अभी
हाँ।
तक जिनकी भी आई है, तो सभी के जवाब दिए हैं हमने।
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
बट डॉक्टर कृति डोंट थिंक कि ऐसे फॉर ऑल पार्टिसिपेंट्स की मेंटर मिल जाएगा तो काम आसान हो जाएगा।
No, no, sir. I'm myself a researcher.
राइट।
So I know it's,
discussion अच्छा, हाँ, facilitation.
so it's just a facilitation. That's why I wanted to know that if IMPRI is having, otherwise I will move ahead with my own research plan. So now,
keep on moving, no? I will tell
yes,
you at very high level of meetings, अगर सेक्रेटरी से भी हम बात कर रहे हैं ना, तो 2 मिनट से ज्यादा नहीं मिलता हमें। रियल क्या बात करनी है ना, रियल क्वेश्चंस उसमें आंसर हो जाते हैं।
right, sir. Right, sir. Thank you so
तो
much.
अगर इफ यू आर गेटिंग स्टक इन योर रिसर्च एंड इफ यू थिंक किसी एक्सपर्ट से ये बात तो कर ही लें, तो वो रीच आउट भी हो जाएगा। यू कैन सिंपली ड्राफ्ट एन ईमेल एंड सेंड आल्सो। हाँ,
Sure,
यूज एनी मेथड। हाँ,
sure, sure. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Abhimanyu ji, would you like to go?
तो आज से काफी इंफॉर्मेटिव था और थैंक यू मैम। मैंने फॉर्म फिल कर दिया है एंड मैं एक गूगल डॉक भी शेयर किया हूँ। दोनों ईमेल आईडी पे, लर्निंग वाले पे भी, एक इम्प्री @, पे भी। तो एक बार उस पर फीडबैक देने के बाद दे दीजिएगा। एंड मैं क्वेश्चन प्रिपरेशन के मैं लास्ट चरण में हूँ। और मैंने स्टेक होल्डर डिसाइड कर लिया है। जैसे मैं स्टूडेंट सोच रहा था, बट लास्ट सेकेंड लास्ट सेशन में मैम ने बोला कि टीचर भी होना चाहिए, तो टीचर भी हैं। और मैंने सैंपल साइज अभी इंटरव्यू के लिए पर्टिकुलर रखा है कि एटलीस्ट 30 स्टूडेंट के साथ और 10 टीचर के साथ मैं इस प्राइमरी डेटा कलेक्शन वाला वर्क कर लूंगा। हाँ, तो यही था। बाकी
ठीक है,
जो मेरा मोड ऑफ डेटा कलेक्शन हुआ ना, वो टेलीफोनिक और फेस दोनों होगा।
ठीक है,
एटलीस्ट 50% मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि टेलीफोनिक करूँगा, 50 फेस टू फेस।
ठीक है, ठीक है अभिमन्यु जी,
अपना
ठीक है। लेकिन
क्वेश्चन रेडी हो गई आपकी?
नहीं, आज मैं रेडी कर लूंगा। अभी मतलब फाइनल प्रोसेस में है एक बार।
यू कैन कीप इट ओपन एंडेड, क्योंकि वहां जाके आपको कुछ लगे नई बातें डालनी है, तो बी प्रिपेयर्ड फॉर दैट आल्सो। या
थोड़ा प्री टेस्टिंग।
तो मैं ये सोच रहा हूँ कि ठीक है, तो
गो ऑन अभिमन्यु जी, बोल रहे थे।
स्टूडेंट के लिए उनके सिर्फ नेम वगैरह ही होगा ना, कि उनकी पर्टिकुलर वो कौन से विलेज वगैरह से link कर रहे
और
हैं?
वो देना चाहते हैं या नहीं, नहीं तो फिर एनोनिमाइज करना पड़ेगा आपको। यदि ऐसी कुछ चीजें जिससे स्टूडेंट डर रहे हैं देने के लिए, तो फिर आप एनोनिमाइज कर उनको पूछ लेना कि आपके नाम से ये करें या नाम नहीं देना है। दैट इज इम्पोर्टेंट।
वो तो उनके अगर हम टेलीफोनिक ले रहे हैं या फेस टू फेस से भी कर रहे हैं, तो वो तो उनका सिर्फ वर्बली ही कंफर्मेशन होगा ना।
हाँ,
हाँ,
वो चलेगा, वो चलेगा।
चलेगा।
वो चलेगा। लेकिन अभिमन्यु जी, मैम ने भी लास्ट टाइम आपको बोला था कि
फॉर्म बनाना चाहिए, कंसेंट फॉर्म।
हाँ मैम, वो स्कूल मैनेजमेंट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन ये सब छूट रहा है कुछ
वो
कुछ
लोग तो
कैटेगरी।
मांगे, हाँ वो लोग तो मांगेंगे ना कंसेंट फॉर्म, तुम आपका कि आप हमें कोट कर सकते हैं या नहीं। आई एम पार्टिसिपेटिंग विलिंगली, नॉट अंडर एनी प्रेशर। तो ये जो कंसेंट फॉर्म अपना इम्प्री के पास भी होगा, तो वो कंसेंट फॉर्म भी आप ले सकते हैं, क्योंकि यदि कुछ सेंसिटिव बातें कह रहे हैं अबाउट करप्शन और माल प्रैक्टिस या कुछ भी, तो उनको लगता है, तो यू कैन एनोनिमाइज ऑल्सो। दे एग्री टू पार्टिसिपेट, बट उसमें आपको ऑप्शन देने होंगे विथ माई नेम और प्लीज एनोनिमाइज मी। इन्फॉर्म कंसेंट फॉर्म है ना, वो शेयर करना पड़ेगा इम्प्री के पास।
ये तो
मिलेगी।
मेरा टॉपिक करप्शन से रिलेटेड तो नहीं है इस टाइप से,
हाँ,
क्योंकि हम बेसिकली उनसे उनके करियर गाइडेंस लेकर के ही बात कर रहे होंगे कि
लेकिन
क्या नीड
कैरियर
है।
गार्डेंस में भी कहेंगे, शायद वो कह भी सकते हैं ना, हमें इतने ही मेंटर नहीं मिलते, हम बहुत कोशिश करते हैं लेकिन कोई जवाब नहीं देता, या तो वो देते हैं तो हमारा बहुत गुस्से में बात करते हैं। तो ये सब चीज जो आएगी, तो उसमें फिर थोड़ा डर रहता है ना, इतना छोटा सैंपल है, तो किसने कहा होगा वो पकड़े जाने का। सो इट इज इम्पोर्टेंट टू एनोनिमाइज वो, ऐसा हो, क्योंकि आप कुछ भी पूछोगे थोड़ा, शायद उनकी जो दुविधाएं होंगी वो भी तो आपको बताएंगे ना।
यस यस।
अभिमन्यु जी, दिस इज जस्ट फॉर सेफर साइड फॉर यू, कि अगर मतलब क्वेश्चन आप बना रहे हैं 3 पन्ने 4 पन्ने का, तो उसमें एक पैराग्राफ और ये ऐड कर ही दिया तो क्या हो जाए।
आई एम
आपने
विलिंगली ज्वाइनिंग। हाँ, कि मैं बिना
आप
कोई दबाव में ये कह
हाँ,
रही हूँ।
किसी
और
से अगर आप आधे घंटे बात कर रहे हैं तो स्टार्टिंग में ही बोल लीजिए कि क्या मैं आपका नाम यूज करूं, या इस तरह से ना खुद ही उनसे ऐसे रिक्वेस्ट कर लीजिए कि मैं ये रिसर्च पर्पस के लिए कर रहा हूँ, ऐसा ऐसा। थोड़ा
और
सीरियस
रिपोर्ट में, हाँ रिपोर्ट में आपके नाम नहीं देंगे, क्योंकि
ऐसे।
चाहिए या नहीं चाहिए वो भी आपको कहना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि वो जो गांव है, गांव का तो नाम आएगा ना, आप जहाँ कर रहे हैं वो जगह तो आएगी।
यस यस।
इसीलिए
ठीक है।
It's important.
अभिमन्यु जी,
मैम ये जो मैंने जो नंबर बताया, नंबर ऑफ, क्योंकि काफी लिमिटेड है, तो ये एक स्कूल में होना चाहिए या फिर एटलीस्ट 2-3 स्कूल में हम इस नंबर को लेके जाएं, कि
10 10
पर्टिकुलर
10
अगर हम
3
3
ले
स्कूल
लीजिए।
को कवर कर रहे हैं
हाँ,
तो
3
जितना
स्कूल
ज्यादा हो
लेंगे
ज्यादा
तो
बेटर है।
हाँ 10 ले लेंगे 3 स्कूल में, तो
है
ज्यादा
ना।
बैलेंस भी मिलेगा।
और अभिमन्यु जी थोड़ा ना स्टेक होल्डर्स भी बढ़ा लीजिए, स्कूल के एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन, मैनेजमेंट, पेरेंट्स,
Trustees, if it is run by the
ट्रस्टी,
trustee.
कोई मैनेजमेंट कमेटी के कोई मेंबर होंगे जिसमें पेरेंट्स हो या लोकल सोशल वर्कर हो,
PTA,
ऐसे।
Parent Teachers Association, which is compulsory now, PTA.
अच्छा, इससे ना बॉक्स स्टोरीज आएंगे अभिमन्यु जी, मैं बता रहा हूँ। जो आप
हाँ,
रिपोर्ट बनाएंगे ना, उसमें बॉक्स, छोटे छोटे बॉक्स स्टोरीज आते हैं ना, तो वहाँ
हाँ,
पे आप लिख सकते हैं कि मैंने ऐसे स्कूल मैनेजमेंट कमेटी या ऐसे और स्टेक होल्डर से बात किया, उनका ऐसा मानना था। छोटा एक पैराग्राफ बॉक्स स्टोरीज, रिच हो जाएगा हाँ आउटकम।
हम्म,
अच्छा अच्छा।
ठीक है ना। इसको हम की इन्फॉर्मेंट इंटरव्यूज कहते हैं। हाँ, नहीं तो आप कुछ लोगों से बात करके एफजीडी फोकस ग्रुप डिस्कशन कर सकते हैं। 3-4 एक तरह के लोगों को बुला लिया या
Students,
5 बच्चों को
हाँ,
बुला लिया और एक फोकस ग्रुप डिस्कशन कर लिया, ऐसे तैयारी कर ली। 3-4 पेरेंट्स के साथ बैठ गए, गांव में तो आसान भी होगा ये सब करना। ऐसे कुछ मतलब लेस नंबर ऑफ फोकस ग्रुप डिस्कशन भी कर लिया, कुछ ऐसे इंटरव्यूज भी ले लिए। हाँ, मेथोडोलॉजी विल ऑल्सो बिकम रिच।
very good.
तो पेरेंट्स और टीचर के क्वेश्चन आए तो अलग अलग होंगे फिर।
यस
हाँ हाँ,
यस
वो अलग
यस।
होंगे, इवन स्टाफ के अलग होंगे और मैनेजमेंट के अलग होंगे। मैनेजमेंट का ज्यादातर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर से जुड़ा हुआ, क्या क्या फैसिलिटीज देते हैं, क्या देना चाहेंगे, कौन से आपको चैलेंजेस आते हैं, वो लेवल के रहेंगे। और वो हर एक लेवल पे आप एफडीजी कर सकते हैं। मैनेजमेंट के चाहे यदि 5 ट्रस्टी है, उनमें से 3 जुड़ने को तैयार है तो उनसे बात कर सकते हैं। स्टाफ में क्लार्क, अकाउंटेंट, ये ऑफिस असिस्टेंट, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर, तो वो लोग का कर सकते हैं। टीचर्स भी 4-5 टीचर्स तैयार है, वो उनका भी एफजीडी कर सकते हैं। नहीं मिले तो इंडिविजुअल इंटरव्यूज।
ओके, थैंक यू।
Thank you, Abhimanyu ji. Harsha ji, would you like to go?
लेकिन मैं थोड़ा अभिमन्यु जी को क्वेश्चन पे बता दूं। अभिमन्यु, सिंस इट्स अ क्वालिटेटिव थिंग, तो हमें ऐसे प्रॉपर क्वेश्चन नहीं बनाने जैसे। हाँ, क्वांटिटेटिव में हम क्या करते हैं ना, सिंस हमें वो नंबर्स चाहिए होते हैं, नंबर फीड होता है, क्लीन होता है, तो उसमें थोड़ा ज्यादा मेहनत लगता है। यू कैन मेक इट, आपको पता होना चाहिए कि मैं क्या पूछ रहा हूँ, मेरा ना सब्जेक्ट क्या है, उससे मैं विदर अवे ना हूँ। ठीक है, रिपोर्ट को अपने दिमाग में रखकर उससे लिमिटेड रहेंगे ना, तो आप ऐसे 10-15 सवालों का सूची बना रहे हैं, ऐसा सोचिए।
हाँ हाँ
क्योंकि लार्जली आपको इन डेप्थ इंटरव्यूज लेने हैं ना।
हाँ जी हाँ जी।
बस ठीक है, पॉइंटर्स रखना है उन्हें, मतलब इतना कुछ सैक्रोसैंक्ट नहीं है। ऐसा रख लेंगे तो रिपोर्ट के पीछे देने को बन जाएगा। हाँ, तो उसमें इतना मत डरिए, लेकिन अब कैसे करेंगे उस चीजों पर आ जाइए।
ठीक है।
ठीक है, ओके।
देर आर 2 क्वेश्चन। गौरव वशिष्ठ जी का क्वेश्चन है कि उनको सौम्यदीप जी वाला क्वेश्चनर चाहिए, पीपीटी चाहिए। और दूसरा है कीर्ति सिंह जी का, जिसका कि डू वी हैव रिमोट लाइब्रेरी एक्सेस फैसिलिटी फ्रॉम इम्प्री? यस, इट इज इन पब्लिक डोमेन। इम्प्री के पास जितने भी ये है डॉक्यूमेंट्स, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक डॉक्यूमेंट्स, सॉफ्ट कॉपीज, वो सभी के सभी पब्लिक डोमेन में है। तो आप
नहीं,
इम्प्री की वेबसाइट पे जाएंगे तो आपको वीडियो एज वेल एज रिपोर्ट्स, इम्प्री बुक्स का भी आप क्लिक करोगे तो उसमें से बहुत सारी किताबें हैं जो डाउनलोडेबल है।
मोस्ट आर ई रिसोर्सेज ओनली, एंड आपको वो मिलेगा। लेकिन अगर आपको
या
किसी ऐसा लगता है ना कि कोई पेपर आपको जे स्टोर कहीं से नहीं मिल रहा है, यू कैन राइट टू अस, हम कोशिश करेंगे ना कि हम उसे लाकर
हाँ,
आपको भेज दें। अगर कुछ रिसोर्सेज आप पेड है, कहीं कुछ है, तो आप हमें एक बार बताइएगा।
तो
हाँ
नंबर एक्सेस
हम्म, वो हम कहीं से आपको दे दें ओके।
लाइब्रेरीज, डिजिटल लाइब्रेरीज।
Harsha ji, would you like to go?
Yes, am I audible?
यस,
Yeah, so my topic is regarding the digital facilities in the rural libraries of Karnataka. That's what I'm going to study about. So one I have, so I worked on this domain earlier. So I have some data which I've collected earlier. So I just wanted to know if I can use those also as part of my project. Yeah, one question. Second, I am thinking of conducting a survey also, which will be basically mostly quantitative. So I'll be going to some visits to libraries, interact with the users to understand about the user satisfaction level, all those that will form my qualitative part. But I was just wondering if I can add those quantitative also,
Yeah,
but this is quantitative focus. So I just wanted a clarification on that.
But you will also have to specify when did you conduct, because what is the time period? So the changes that have happened in the library use over the period, over 5 or 7, whichever years, no? So you provide the details of when the research was conducted, the background of the research which was conducted earlier. And you can even triangulate, yes, you have quantitative data and now you will do the in-depth interviews, yes.
Sure, thank you. And I wanted to know who would be my mentor and how should I contact my mentor? I have no idea about that. So
I think Sachi sir can help. Professor Sachidanand Sinha is भी रिटायर हो गए जेएनयू से, एडुकेशन पे उन्होंने बहुत काम किया है, लेकिन थोड़ा आप मेथड और टेस्टिंग और पायलट ये सब बढ़ाइए ना हर्षिर जी। हाँ
yeah,
वो ही इज वेरी सीनियर। मैं एडुकेशन में बट ये पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर भी है ना। सैंपल वगैरह आपने डिसाइड कर लिया, स्टेक होल्डर्स?
Educational infrastructure.
हर्षिर
sorry,
जी have
are you
have
asking decided my
stakeholders and samples, those things have you decided?
stakeholders? Yes, I have decided, but the sample I'm yet to decide. Yeah.
Start
Even
making
jurisdiction, district or state or
district, different districts, not just one district, state level itself, ma'am. So I'm planning to visit different.
Yeah, fine.
Yes.
okay, see that with time you are able to do that, right?
Yeah, I'll be able to do that.
You're based in Bangalore?
Yeah, I'm based in Bangalore, so I'll be visiting mostly the nearby districts itself. Yeah, so I'll be able to do that.
So why don't you then go to the state departments also? Go and meet Panchayati Raj department or education department, concerned department officials also. Some experts in this area also, those who are working in education line.
Yeah, so they form one of my main stakeholder, and then the users, then the librarians, and then the officials at the district and other levels.
Panchayati Raj institution.
Yeah.
And some Panchayati Raj members also, elected leaders,
Elected representatives.
Officials and elected members. Yeah, I'll be trying.
ठीक है, start working on it. Good study.
And so how can I, so will you be connecting me with my mentor on this or?
Yes, develop it more, Ashish ji. Then we will have something about you na, tab aise formally milwa de. But for this, I think, do you require any help for questionnaire or for what do you need?
Questionnaire as of now, no, I'm in the process of developing one. So it is more an open-ended questionnaire. Once I've developed, I can share with the mentor if I get, and then yeah, I can discuss it there, I guess.
Okay. Start doing its pre-testing. Huh?
Yeah.
Pre-testing pilot, start with it. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, Ashuji. Mehaji, would you like to go?
Meha,
good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, sir. Ma'am, like these things I have done, like making the people, the stakeholders, marking the stakeholders and all, the jurisdiction, these things I have done, like, I'm doing it, but किसी से पूछना है, क्या पूछना है, लोग मेंटोर का पूछ रहे हैं, मेरे को आइडिया नहीं है मैम, हम बस कर रहे हैं, लाइक क्योंकि यहाँ प्रैक्टिस भी कर रहे हैं राजस्थान में, सो साथ में और पढ़ाते भी हैं कॉलेज में, तो साथ के सीनियर प्रोफेसर से, लॉ के ही प्रोफेसर से, लाइक माय टॉपिक इज ऑन इम्प्लीमेंटेशन ऑफ पॉक्सो, सो आई हैव लाइक verified my questions with them only, क्योंकि किससे पूछते,
सही बात।
और जो पब्लिक प्रोसिक्यूटर हैं पॉक्सो के कोर्ट में, उनके साथ, और पॉक्सो के कोर्ट में यहाँ पे जो जज हैं अपॉइंटेड जयपुर में, उनके साथ अभी मेरा मीटिंग है 2 दिन बाद का, तो मतलब मैम यही करना है कि क्या करना है मतलब?
बराबर, you are in right direction. Only thing now, the survivors interview मिलेंगे क्या आपको? और
जी
या तो
मैम
survivors के
उसकी भी
family
बात
members
हो
का,
उसकी
survivors
भी
के पेरेंट्स का, या तो इसका वो भी है आपके इसमें
हाँ मैम है
perception of
सब।
survivor, what kind
जी
of
मैम
social ostracization or the problem or a threat or her own fears, impact on education, overall loss of self esteem, ये सब बातें भी आएंगी ना?
जी मैम ये है, तो उसके लिए एक एनजीओ से बात हुई हुई है। वो वुमेन एंड चाइल्ड के लिए यहाँ पे काम कर रहा है काफी समय से। टिस के थ्रू ही यहाँ पे डाला गया था, जो टिस के थ्रू काउंसलिंग सेंटर्स पुलिस
हाँ जी,
स्टेशन स्टार्ट हुए ना।
पुलिस
तो
स्टेशन में, हाँ
जी तो उसी की जो हेड है यहाँ पे डॉक्टर रेणुका पामेचा मैम करके,
हाँ,
तो
वन
उनके थ्रू हेल्प लेकर के इसका भी ले रहे हैं कि
ठीक
विक्टिम्स का मिल जाए, उनके फैमिली मेंबर्स का मिल
ठीक
जाए।
है, तो फिर you are in right direction, and then you will use your legal acumen to see what are the limitations at the operational in the rules in the of the POCSO Act, the operational dimension of the POCSO Act, how the criminal justice system is responding, वो सब आपका डिस्कशन में आएगा ना। बट करंटली
जी
आप जो इंटरव्यूज वगैरह इंफॉर्मेशन ले रहे हैं वो करेक्ट है, बराबर।
वो सही है ना मैम। और मैम जैसे ठीक है, कॉलेज में क्योंकि काम करते हैं तो ये वाले चीज को यूज कर सकते हैं क्या, कि पैनल डिस्कशन चाइल्ड राइट्स का करवा दिए तीन
हाँ
चार लोग को?
हाँ, दैट्स व्हाट वो मेरे प्रेजेंटेशन में आया ना, मल्टीपल मेथड्स, स्टोरी
वही
टेलिंग होगी, या तो अभी जो आप रेप पे करते हो तो फिर आप पूरी एक एक्चुअल केस स्टडी मनुस्मृति में जो आप कहते हैं उसमें से लो, और फिर री राइटिंग द जजमेंट वो भी करवा सकते हैं। और सौम्या उमा जो है ग्लोबल जिंदाल लॉ यूनिवर्सिटी में वो करवाती है, जो एग्जिस्टिंग जजमेंट है उसको लेके, हैड यू बीन in the
हाँ
case, how would you have given the judgment with gender's responsive judgment, no? तो ये
जी
सब
मैम।
चीजें अलग अलग मेथड्स आप ला सकते हैं to get the perception of people, and what are the ideological moorings, and what is the level of gender responsiveness of the participant respondent in your study. Yeah.
ओके, और मैम इसमें अभी मेंटोर पता करना है कि अभी बस हम करते चले जो काम कर रहे हैं? क्योंकि असल में मैम मेरा पीएचडी का कोर्स वर्क का भी एग्जाम है एंड आई एम वर्किंग ऑल्सो, तो ये सारा एक साथ ही मैनेज हो रहा है। तो लाइक इज देयर एनीथिंग विच वी हैव टू कीप इन माइंड विथ रिगार्ड्स टू डेट्स, बिकॉज जी
नेहा
सर।
जी, आप विभूति मैम से कांटेक्ट कीजिए ना, इसमें सीरियस इंटरव्यूज है। लेकिन मुझे लग रहा है नेहा जी को ना, मतलब टॉपिक इज इन डेप्थ एंड दिस इज वेरी लिटरल रिसर्चर्स के लिए क्वेश्चन कि
और
हम क्या।
मैंने शायद आई थिंक मजलिस के तो सब आपसे शेयर किए हैं ना उनके स्टडीज, और हैव यू एक्सेस मजलिस वेबसाइट? Because they have a massive project called राहत। जब से पोक्सो एक्ट आया है 2012 से, तब से हर एक पोक्सो एक्ट का मॉनिटरिंग, इवैल्यूएशन, कीपिंग इन टच विद द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ वुमेन एंड चाइल्ड, होम मिनिस्ट्री, वो सब काम करके
ये
एवरीथिंग इज डॉक्यूमेंटेड। दे हैव यूज्ड पार्टिसिपेटरी एक्शन रिसर्च
हाँ
मेथड।
जी मैम किए हैं, ये लिटरेचर रिव्यू में ये सारा
आए हैं ना,
उनका
उनकी वीडियोस भी है, छोटी छोटी
था।
वीडियोस है, 5 मिनट की, 3 मिनट की,
मैम
7 मिनट की।
ऑड्री मैम से बात भी करा देते हैं नेहा जी की।
हाँ करा दीजिए, बराबर,
वैशाली,
ठीक है।
मैं नंबर दे दूंगा नेहा जी को शेयर कर दे। ऑड्री मैम का मैं कुछ 5-10 आपको नंबर्स भी दूंगा, हाँ, फोन पे। अब
हाँ
इंटरव्यू ले, लेकिन आप जो सवाल स्टार्टिंग में कह रहे थे ना कि आप क्या कर रहे हैं वो समझ, अपना रिपोर्ट को अपना फोकस बनाइए कि आपका क्या आउटकम होगा। हाँ, बी वेरी सेल्फिश एज अ
ये
रिसर्चर।
बहाने आपके अच्छे प्री पीएचडी, एक पब्लिकेशन भी, 2 पब्लिकेशन भी मांगते हैं ना अभी तो एक अच्छा क्वालिटी का रिसर्च पेपर
बिल्कुल।
हो जाएगा
हाँ।
एकेडमिक, जो आपको फिर थीसिस सबमिशन के टाइम काम आएगा। जो पब्लिश हो गया तो आपको
जी
उसमें
मैम।
फायदा हो जाएगा जी।
राइट
मैम ये
नेहा जी,
नंबर जी
बिल्कुल
सर।
रिपोर्ट, बिल्कुल रिपोर्ट पे फोकस्ड। हाँ, फिर क्योंकि बहुत ज्यादा जाएंगे ना, डिटेल्स बहुत आएंगे, लेकिन आप फोकस करिए कि मैं रिपोर्ट में क्या क्या मुझे डालना है, एंड स्टिक टू इट। नहीं तो वो बहुत ज्यादा इधर उधर भी जाएंगे। सो फोकस कैन बी व्हाट यू आर थिंकिंग योर आउटपुट टू बी, राइट। डोंट थिंक इन टर्म्स ऑफ राइटिंग में ये जाए या वो जाए, बट सी कि मुझे 18 पेज लिखना है तो उसमें ऐसे ऐसे आई एम प्लानिंग लाइक दैट।
हाँ,
ओके,
7,000 वर्ड्स या
रेस्ट्रिक्ट
जी
योरसेल्फ विद दैट। हाँ,
जी और मैम सर ये नंबर कैसे शेयर करेंगे आप?
नंबर आपको व्हाट्सएप पे दे देंगे ना। आपसे
अच्छा
वैशाली, हाँ, वैशाली भी बात कर लेगी। वैशाली आपको हेल्प कर दे, वो भी लॉ से पीएचडी कर रही है वैशाली।
अच्छा, थैंक यू मैम, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
वैशाली यू गाइड में। हाँ,
शालू मैडम भी चलेंगे, चलो शालू मैडम
हाँ
भी कहती,
हाँ,
शी इज ऑल्सो प्रैक्टिसिंग लॉयर और
ठीक है।
हमारे थिंक टैंक में, बराबर।
जी
तो मेहा को हम शालू मैम अलॉट ही कर देते हैं, वैशाली है।
हाँ, वही कर दीजिए अलॉट, वही ज्यादा,
हाँ हाँ,
क्योंकि
और वो बहुत पैशनेट भी है इस टॉपिक को
हाँ,
लेकर।
वही वही तो।
ठीक है, एल्बर्टीना मैम को भी कर सकते हैं, वो भी
अल्बर्टिना इज ऑल्सो वर्कड ऑन पोक्सो केसेस गोवा में,
करें।
तो
हाँ
अल्बर्टिना और ये दोनों अच्छे हो जाएंगे शालू मैम।
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Meha ji. Roshni ji, would you like to go?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
So last week I was not able to attend because I was traveling, and after I got back, I felt sick. So, a little of my work is pending. But however, I had written to Dr. Patel saying that my topic is going to be the rural library policy in Karnataka and how it has enhanced the lives of women. I would be doing this research in Raichur district of Karnataka because it has got one of the lowest literacy rates in Karnataka. So I wanted to see if the objectives of the Karnataka Library Acts is being fulfilled through these efforts. So I had contacted the Panchayat Raj Institute IS officer who is the secretary over there, and she has approved of it, and she had asked me to share my concept note with her. So I had forwarded that email to Dr. Patel too, to just show that they are willing to accept my proposal. Now after that, I've done the literature review. I have chosen to do an interview guide, open-ended, and to go and interview women randomly. How the rural libraries have impacted their lives. Whether it has facilitated or there were barriers in accepting these going to the libraries in their place. And also after that, I've also wanted to interview women librarians who have got employed because of this Rural Library Act. But after listening to all your conversations, I have a feeling that I should also interview the district library authorities in order to see what has been their challenges in implementing this act, so that we come to know collectively from all stakeholders what have facilitated this act as well as what have been the barriers of this act. So these are the three main populations that I am targeting. Although I did think that all the interviews should be done in person, but I think that will be highly impossible. So I'm thinking of online also, WhatsApp, Zoom, phone calls, everything. So this is what I have done. I have to put this in paper, in writing, so that I have a 2-page concept note that I can share with IMPRI as well as with the officer at PRI.
Yeah, I think when you interview the authorities, you also include a question about the budget allocation and utilization. Are they using 100% of the budget allocated for the library movement? That also is very important, because in many places things are total underutilization is there. No, so
Yes.
that you include in your questionnaire for the
Sure,
authority.
definitely. Thank you for that pointer. Anything else? Changes in the methodology or?
No, you are in the right track.
So I will be sharing the concept note with IMPRI and with the officer this week. The coming week.
Fine.
Okay.
Right.
Thank
I
you
have some comment. Roshni ji, I have one comment. You can increase your stakeholders, have more journalists, politician, elected members. Don't go in numbers like KII. You can do FGD or
Yeah.
have some small discussion, but have some more stakeholders. Go in variety, since
Okay.
you're touching policy issue. And then, but Hashir ji is also choosing the same topic.
But his region must be different, no?
Region is different, but
The
both
jurisdiction is whole of state, while she is the intensive study of one district.
Okay, in this case,
Lowest literacy rate.
Low literacy rate district. I wanted to target that one and see,
Lowest literacy.
because that will be a good measure of the impact of the
You
policy.
can bring the gender angle also, no? Because
Yes.
what are the contributory factors? Because it's a tribal community dominated district, or because there are more for accessibility, the educational infrastructure is very limited, or there is a gender, there are certain social practices which doesn't allow girls to go
Yes.
for education.
Yes.
Just see this thing. In Kutch, we saw that the reason was non-availability of public transport. That was the reason why girls were not sent to school. Because
Okay.
the buses would come only at 8 in the morning and 8 in the evening. In between, they were not coming. So parents were reluctant to send their daughter. So what are the factors, debilitating factors?
Yeah. Sure.
Enabling factors also. If
Yeah.
certain tehsils within the district have performed well. So you can take the best performing tehsil and the lowest performing tehsil within Raichur district.
Sure.
That is also possible.
Yeah. For me, Raichur district is completely new, other than the fact that it is a low literacy state and there is water problems in that district. I know nothing about Raichur. So for me also, it's going to be an exploration.
So water problem is also, if you see Indira, there's the NIPFP study where she says that wherever there is a water problem, enrollment of girls is very limited.
Yeah.
And even the dropout rate is very high because a lot of time goes in collection of water. No?
Water for the entire household. Yeah. And girls are the ones who are sent for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the pointers, and I will stay in touch with IMPRI. I have not filled that form, Dr. Arjun.
do
You should
that.
fill out.
That-
They have shared the link once again.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
I'll do that. Thank you very much.
If you'll fill the form, you'll get more clarity in terms of how you're doing the things. So it is designed in a way that
Okay.
if you spend time with it, you yourself be, lined up to do things. So
Okay.
go ahead and do take pictures if you are visiting places.
Definitely.
That
Definitely.
can go in the report. Yes.
Mehaji, you also, you're talking here.
Appearances, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep taking pictures,
Yeah. Very
right, of your meetings and all. साथ में
small
something-
videos also.
small
Yeah.
videos.
Yeah.
If you're
50-second videos.
any elected person or some place, you can take, वो सब चला जाएगा report में.
I wanted to ask if I should include a component of photo voice thing into
Yeah,
my
yeah.
business.
Yes.
I can do that, right?
Yeah. You can do that. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
With the chair's permission, I would like to give formal vote of thanks.
Yes. Please go ahead. No problem.
अर्पण जी रह गए. Let us just check.
He dropped off, sir.
नहीं है अभी तो नहीं है.
He dropped off in between.
अच्छा, कोई बात नहीं, ठीक है.
As we come to end of day 4 of Public Policy Qualitative Participatory Action Research Fieldwork Fellowship Cohort 2.0, an online National Winter School program, a 4-month online immersive qualitative participatory action research fieldwork certificate training fellowship, I, Vishali Singh, researcher at Impact and Policy Research Institute, would like to propose the formal vote of thanks on behalf of IMPRI, New Delhi. We are grateful to our expert for the day 4 session, Professor Vibhuti Patel ji, for taking out her valuable time and allowing us to learn from this online certificate program. We once again thank our chair, Professor Vibhuti Patel, for convening the session. We thank all of our participants who have raised pertinent questions and actively participated in today's deliberation. We look forward to welcoming you on 27 Jan 2024, Saturday at 11:30 a.m. for our day 5 of this certificate course by distinguished expert Dr. Simi Mehta ji, and interaction with the IMPRI team. We are grateful if you are watching us later on YouTube or listening to us on our various podcasts or reading our publications. We hope you continue to join in future to our IMPRI Web Policy Talk and Web Policy Learning. Wish you a good day and a happy new year. Thank you.
27th. 27th.
So, ma'am, now we are giving some gap
Yeah.
to
27th.
our researchers.
Report writing and editorial guidance. Yes.
Or maybe we will have Professor Gumadi Devi first, so that more case studies and all she can discuss. We will see. But now we will move on to issuing letter and finalizing topic to that stage. So our team will get in touch with everyone. And okay, all the best to all of you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.